And I'm starting the recording. I'll make you the host again.
Okay, thank you.
Please make me co-host.
All right. All right, you should be co-host now, Franklin.
Yes, I am.
Good, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Hi, everyone. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. Good to see you here. Really am good to see all of you as we go on this adventure regarding the mysterious places of Earth together. This is your class, so I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your experiences, being mindful of other people, of course, that may want to say something, but I think it will be a very rich class if we share with each other, and hope we just enjoy the experience together. So more people are coming on, just a few more minutes, and then I'm going to start. I see Shirley here. Good. All right, then I think I'm going to get started now. See more people in the waiting room, but still. All right, let me get started and start to share my screen. The first thing I want to do is let you know of a submission for a story regarding your father or someone who is like your father or has been like a father to your children, perhaps a coach or a teacher, a minister, and that's in celebration of Father's Day. I teach creative writing, and in celebration of that, I'd like to have people submit just a little piece regarding their fathers or someone who was like a father. And I'm going to put this in the notes, but I wanted to introduce it to you here. And I'll also include the prompts. Oftentimes we need prompts, and I'm not going to go through them all, but even just one word that reminds you of your father or someone who is like a father to you or to your children, maybe his favorite sport, etc. Anyway, any stories concerning your dynamic dad or who anyone was like a dad to you or your children. So I hope that you'll consider it, and I would love to get the submissions from you, and then we'll celebrate fathers together. Enough of that. Okay, today's class is Earth's Mysterious Places, a fun exploration of our planet. Okay, let's just have some fun. Get Set Up helps you to learn useful skills from people like you, that means seniors, so we can do wonderful things. We learn from each other. Ideally, we can see you when cameras are on. Request a recording after class. Email help@getsetup.io. If joining by live stream, the best way to participate is to join us and register for a class. Get Set Up is not paid to promote specific products. Our agenda is a very simple one. Some facts about the Earth that I would be helpful, I think, as a foundation. Then we'll look at the places with unexplained phenomena. And then let's talk about the planet's wondrous and mesmerizing places. And this is a multimedia presentation. So let's get started. Any questions before we begin? Okay.
FactsVerse presents 15 Things You Didn't Know About Earth. You'd think that since we live on this planet, we'd know everything there is to know about Earth. And while we do know a lot of things about our mother planet, there are some things that we don't know. In fact, here are 15 things you probably didn't know about Earth, and some of them might even surprise you. Before we jump into our video, Do us a favor by clicking that like button. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. We all know that there are 24 hours in a day, right? I mean, a full day is the time it takes the Earth to spin on its axis, and that's 24 hours. Well, not exactly. What you might not know is that Earth actually spends 23 hours and 56 minutes per day. We add the extra 4 minutes to each day because the distance that the Earth orbits the Sun is so great that it takes extra time for us to face the Sun again. The Earth spins slower and slower every year, too. They estimate that in about 250 million years, the typical day on Earth will only be about 90 minutes. There is an area in Canada known as Hudson Bay, and it has an uneven mass and uneven gravity. There were once glaciers in that area that melted a long time ago. Well, now they're gone, but the burden of gravity remains in the ice sheets and underneath the Earth's crust. This results in lower gravity in this area than anywhere else on Earth. Now, that doesn't mean that you can visit the place and feel like you're walking on the moon. The difference in gravity is only about 0.005% reduction. The change is so small you won't be able to feel it. The first photo of Earth ever taken was in 1946. A camera was strapped to a V-2 missile 65 miles above the Earth's atmosphere. The camera managed to snap a frame every second and a half, and the rocket survived re-entry. The scientists involved in the project were ecstatic. They couldn't believe that there was finally now a photo of the Earth in existence. In 1967, the full-color image of the Earth was taken by the Dodge satellite. These photos led to the beginning of a better understanding of the world where we live.
Some other facts concerning the Earth. Earth facts. Earth is the only known planet to support life. Earth is around 4.6 billion years old, according to scientists. The Earth is the densest planet in the solar system. The Earth's atmosphere is composed mainly of nitrogen, oxygen, and argon. Earth is the most dense planet in the solar system. Gravity between the Earth and the moon causes the tides on Earth. Earth is the only planet not named for a mythical god or goddess. The current world population is 7.9 billion as of May of this year. The only thing all humans share is that we all inhabit the same limited amount of real estate, which is planet Earth. That's what unites us. I think this is wonderful, and I'm going to stop for some. This is the Crooked Forest in Poland. This Polish forest lives up to its name with hundreds of peculiar pine trees. Several hundred pine trees were planted there in 1930s and grew with an almost 90-degree bent in their base, making them look like fishing hooks. Some believe that a technique or human tool was used to make the trees curve this way, while others speculate that a winter snowstorm or some other damage may have given this fascinating forest its interesting shape. Anyone have any comments about that? I think that is just phenomenal. Have you seen it before? Carl, you may have.
No, never seen it before.
Yeah, it's in Poland. The other thing about these things, as we are traveling more because of the pandemic being over, these are places that you may want to see, or even just photojournal kind of see. But I think the Crooked Forest is one place that I would want to visit. Any comments?
I think it is awesome. I would love to see something like that in person. Yeah, that is awesome.
Well, that's part of this class, is hopefully will stimulate you when we can travel, that maybe you consider going to some of these places. Come back and tell us about it. Okay, in Australia, with a bubblegum pink waters, Australia's Hiller might have been the most unique and pretty waters in the world. As you can see, they're actually pinkish, a bubblegum color. It sits right next to the Pacific Ocean, which makes its natural color really pop in comparison. you could see the blue of the regular ocean, and in this particular body of water, it's bubblegum pink. It has plenty of live fish living in the waters and is even safe for swimming, although tourists aren't allowed in the water. The reason for the lake's color remains a mystery, but is almost likely caused by algae, bacteria, and chemical reactions. But it really is beautiful. And again, that's another place to possibly visit. I love this one. This is in New Zealand. This is the gores that have come out. You know, we usually have them at holiday time. And according to Morino, I guess, legend, you can pronounce it perhaps a different way, Maoro, I guess, legend. There are gourds washed ashore from the shipwreck of the canoe that brought their ancestors to New Zealand, home to some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And these are the gores. Now, we usually have them that sit on our tables that are, you know, during the holiday time, during Thanksgiving time. But this is, to me, just phenomenal. And just the backdrop, Has anyone ever been to New Zealand?
Yes, I have.
Did you get a chance to see something like that?
I've never heard of them before.
Really? Okay, well, then it's something certainly to explore. I don't want to mispronounce some of the names because I don't have the accent for it, but
Yeah.
I just think it's so worth following up on the huge gores in New Zealand.
Amazing.
Anything else? Did you see anything else while you were there that was of real interest?
I love Rotorua with the mud lake, sulphur and everything there.
Mhm.
Queenstown was a lovely little country town. Very good. Yeah, there's just lots of beautiful places.
Mhm,
But I
mhm.
missed that. But yeah, was it that
Okay.
in the North or South Island? Do you know?
No.
No.
Oh.
There's so much
And
to
I wanna
see
make
there.
sure- Yeah, in South Hall. Well, it may be something we'll explore next time. I don't know.
Yeah, be lovely.
That's kind of the fun part of all of this.
It says you can't see everything in a visit. So.
We can sit in our chairs and view the whole world, which is a good thing.
And it's warm.
And it's warm, that's correct. Or not stifling hot, you can be as comfortable. But I love this.
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated by it. Okay, so let's go on.
When it comes to life on Earth and human history, scientists and historians have some of the answers, but not all of them. They're great at their job, and they can reach grand conclusions based on tiny clues and pieces of evidence, but sometimes they encounter something that leaves them totally stumped. That's what today's video is all about. These are the strange and wonderful places all over the world that are amazing to see, but impossible to understand, even for scientists. Why have one tree when you can have two? That seems to be the theory in Casorzo, Italy, where there's a remarkable sight to behold in a field. It's two trees in one, and they're completely different species of tree. The bottom one is a mulberry tree, but it has a cherry tree growing on top of it. It's a sort of hybrid duplex of the kind that very rarely occurs in nature. While smaller trees do occasionally grow on top of larger ones, it's very unusual to see two fully grown trees cohabiting and thriving like this. Usually, one of the tree's good health will come at the expense of the other, and it's usually the tree on top that suffers. As the beautiful white flowers on the cherry tree demonstrate, that isn't the case here. Unsurprisingly, the strange tree has become a tourist attraction for the area, although it's had to be fenced off for its own protection so that people don't get too close. Climbing it is illegal. Mystery surrounds the origins of the Hedenter in Austria. It's believed to have been built during the reign of the Roman Emperor Constantius II, who ruled between the years of 351 and 361, but that's little more than a best guess. The ancient Romans sometimes built structures like this to mark the site of significant military victories. That would make a degree of sense, because the ancient city of Carnuntum once existed in this spot and played host to around 50,000 people surrounded by a walled fortress. The settlement is long gone, but the one remaining arch of this building remains. For several centuries, it was misunderstood as the gateway to the old city. As so little of its true history is known, plenty of myths and legends have grown up around the Hydantor. It's become a popular gathering spot for pagans who refer to it as Heaven's Gate for reasons unknown. If it really was a Roman tetrapylon, it would probably have a statue of either an emperor or a god in the middle of it. But there's no sign of it today.
Wow, look at this. 90.
Okay, what did you think about the tree on top of the tree? Different, huh?
Amazing.
Yeah, it really is. So,
Unbelievable.
That's amazing.
yeah, take a trip to Italy, and you have trees behind you. I think that's just wonderful. Hey, let's
Thank
go on with our presentation here. And I don't want that, so let's just stop that right now. Let me see what I can do.
4% of people believe.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to get back to my place here. Now, we can't even start a class like this without talking about the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is perhaps the most famous, mysterious place in the earth. This area of about 500,000 square miles sits in the Atlantic Ocean between Bermuda, Puerto Rico, and Miami, Florida. More than 20 planes and 50 ships are said to have mysteriously vanished into thin air or crashed without explanation. Though vessels manage to pass through the area with ease every day, and there are no more disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle than in any other large, well-traveled area of the ocean, the unexplained accidents still capture the public imagination. Anyone have any theories about the Bermuda Triangle? It's even thought that Amelia Earhart went down in the Bermuda Triangle. But it's amazing, and actually Alaska has such a triangle too, but maybe another class we'll look at that one.
You may think these images are from the movie Avatar, or perhaps some other distant Earth-like planet. It's hard to believe these places exist on our own planet. Here are 15 unbelievable places that actually exist. Number 15. Underwater waterfall, Mauritius. Mauritius is known for its idyllic beaches and crystal clear sea, but there's an unbelievable phenomenon at the southwest corner of the island that appears to be an underwater waterfall. Despite how it looks, this isn't actually a flowing region of water, but instead an optical illusion that happens because of the seafloor structure. The island sits on an ocean shelf which is no more than 500 feet deep. At the edge of the shelf, however, it soon plunges down to depths of almost 2.5 miles. And what you're actually seeing in the underwater waterfall is not water falling down into the abyss, but particles of sand that are being pushed over by the current. Number 14. Glowworm Cave, New Zealand. New Zealand is one of the most scenic countries in the world, but beyond the peaks of the mountain ranges, the deep valleys, and the glaciers, are a series of caves that seem to have come straight from a fairy tale. The reason for this is because they're home to glowworms, which are the larval forms of a species of fungus gnat that are endemic to the country. Known locally as titiwai, which means projected over water, the bioluminescence that's produced in the insect's abdomens is designed to attract prey and happens as a result of a chemical reaction between a luciferase enzyme and a molecule of luciferin. It creates one of the most stunning sights that you can see in the natural world and makes for a magical boat ride through the cavern when thousands of the glowworms are active. Number 13. Tianxi Mountains, China. China, Tianxi's mountains in the Hunan province are some of the most unusual mountain formations in the world. Covering an area of around 17,000 acres, they're made from quartz sandstone and first began to emerge from the earth about 400 million years ago. The subsequent erosion of the rock has created these skinny mountains, which reach a peak of 3,976 feet and are named after the legend of a farmer who led a revolt against an oppressive regime who called himself the Son of Heaven. When the mountains are covered in mist, there's something mystical about them. And it's no surprise they were the inspiration for mountainscapes in movies like Avatar, and are one of the most popular tourist destinations in the region.
Wait, before you scroll away, Democratic headquarters.
Okay, what did you think about that? The caves with the glowing algae.
That was beautiful, beautiful.
Have you seen some unusual things in your life? Anyone want to share? Maybe on a
Hi. It turns out that those glowworms are not just in the caves, but also outside of the caves, that if the native New Zealanders tell you where to go, you can see them without a tour, which is just as beautiful.
I can imagine.
Oh, wow.
Because we in the United States, we don't even see the fireflies anymore. The little flies that used to travel, at least where I am, and they would glow the bottom part of the body.
Yeah, we used to call those lightning bugs when I was a kid.
Or lightning bugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone remember those?
They're not around. Are you saying that they're not around anymore?
Not in my area. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in the city.
Okay, I'm in Ohio. Yeah, I guess I don't notice them either. That's wild. Yeah, there were real lots of them when I was a kid growing up. I remember.
Right. Yeah. I see them still here in Detroit, but certainly fewer than previously. It's exciting now when you happen to see one or two of them come through.
Yeah, that's true. What about butterflies? Are you used to seeing butterflies anymore? Like
no,
butterflies all the time.
Not that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not much.
I'm in Florida. Don't see them much. You see a few, not very often. No. You have to go to Butterfly World. We have a place called Butterfly World.
That sounds.
It's like a park,
Wow.
and they show metamorphosis and stuff. And,
That sounds wonderful. Like I guess they have the monarch butterfly there, and
yeah.
Species. Oh, they're beautiful. Anyone else want to make any comments before we go on?
I see them. I'm in Alabama. I see them, the butterflies, every now and then. But when I was in Chicago, it seemed like I saw the lightning bugs or fireflies more. But down here, I don't see fireflies, and I very seldom. I see butterflies, but not as often. And you'd see different kinds of butterflies. What do you think is happening to our Earth? I see your hand. Want to say something? Okay, you were right. What do you think is happening so we don't see these things anymore? Carl, can you speculate what may be happening?
Well, I got to say that, I read Canadian Geographic. I'm Canadian, so I read Canadian Geographic, and they're always talking about disappearing this, disappearing that, like the bison, and then they were reintroduced. And then I think in Yellowstone Park, it's our wolves that were taken down there.
Wow.
I think it was our wolves. But two really amazing things for me is when I travel through the Rockies, and done that a few times, is the turquoise lakes in the Rockies. They're just turquoise,
Wow.
And another thing is I was in the Dead Sea, the lowest point in the earth, the Dead Sea. I sat in the water and read newspaper. Just read newspaper. In the middle of a body of water, just sat in the water and read my newspaper.
Good for you. That's a marvelous experience to remember. Anyone else want to share anything that's happening in their area, the local area, or where they've traveled? Anything unusual that they've seen?
Well, for myself, when I visited Canada, it was so amazing to see the Niagara Falls. I really loved that.
So impressive.
And how the boats go underneath the fall. Not underneath it, but so close to it. Yeah. Yes.
Well,
and I was a young girl when I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it stays in your memory. I lived in Morocco for a while, and what used to amaze me was what they call the Sirach, but it was like heat waves. You could actually see the heat on the sands, which was really amazing to visualize or to see heat. So it's our planet is so diverse.
I lost it.
Yeah, and we kind of just think of our own little local area, but it is quite diverse. So let's go on. If there's no other comments, I'm going to see if I can get this off. Okay.
Okay.
I just need to go back to my. Okay. So talked about a number of things, the Bermuda Triangle, and that we all same real estate. Please mute your mics. Now here's another lake. I guess Netron in Tanzania is also known as Petrifying Lake because it has the power to turn birds to stone. The water temperature can reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and its pH level is 10.5, nearly as high as ammonia. The water is so caustic that it can burn the skin and eyes of animals that aren't adapted to it. Its high levels of sodium carbonate also act as preservatives, leaving birds, bats, and other animals that die in its waters almost mummified. The lake is, however, a safe breeding place for a flock of flamingos. And that's interesting that the flamingos could live in such a high acidity, atmosphere. And it's just amazing. That's all I can say. It's just really amazing. Now, here's another structure. It's considered the Eye of the Sahara, Richtat, I guess. It also, the structure is 30 miles wide, circular. And here's a picture of it right here. And I'm sorry, I couldn't make the picture a little better, but I had to share the, I see your hand, Sandra. As soon as I finish this one, I will certainly respond. Structure is 30 miles wide, circular feature that is from space. It looks like a bullseye in the middle of the desert. Richtat was initially theorized to be a meteorite impact site, but is now believed to have been created by erosion of a dome, revealing its concentric rings of rock layers. Its distinctive shape can be seen by astronauts aboard the International Space Station. I would imagine that's pretty interesting to see. Sandra, you had your hand up?
Now, I'm sorry, it's a friend of mine. He popped in. He just joined us.
Good. Hi,
Pete.
Hi, friend. Hi, Pete.
Hi, I'm Pete. How you doing?
Glad that you're here.
Like, I guess you're talking about different sites around the world.
Mm-hmm.
The Geneva flower clock in Switzerland that chimes the hours. It's made out of just flowers. I don't know if it's still there, but I saw it as a kid. It's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Must have been awesome.
clock made of flowers. Yeah.
Do you know how they maintain the flowers? Do they change them every week? My question is probably so naive. Do they change them or real flowers? That's interesting. How do they preserve them? Did you know? Did you find
I'm
out?
not sure. I know the clock was built in 1924. I'm not sure
geez.
how they do it. Maybe I'm gonna look it up on YouTube. I was there like as a kid.
Yeah,
Probably
I'm
not.
going to do that. And those were that's the flower clock in Geneva, did you
Yeah,
say?
Geneva, Switzerland. It chimes the hours. It's a flower clock. Yeah.
If we do this class, I'd like to present that as the flower clock. See, this is how we learn from each other. And that's what Get Set Up is about, for us to have a good time and learn from each other. Anyone else? And Pete, thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything else to say? Want to share? Okay, let's just go on with our class.
My apologies. I'm sorry.
No problem. Who was talking?
Linda, I'm sorry.
Hi, Linda. No, it's no problem.
Technical difficulties.
I'm glad that you're here, Linda, that you made it.
Thank you. I'll mute again.
Okay. Not a problem. I love what the young people say, no worries. And I am a young person, so I should say it too, right? Okay, so this is a wonderful, I mean, I can imagine the astronauts or anyone seeing it. It looks like a bullseye right there in Earth. So let's go on.
Excuse me, is that water in that picture?
Let's go back to it. Let's just say what it says. No, I don't think so. The structure is a 30-mile wide circular feature that from space looks like a bullseye in the middle of the desert. So they're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, but it sure looks from that picture.
I know,
like
but I
water.
guess that, let's just see the, it was theorized to be a meteorite impact, and that could have done it. impact site, but is now believed to have created by erosion of the dome, revealing its concentric rings of layers of rocks, rock layers. Its distinctive shape can be seen by astronauts aboard in it. So no, it looks like water, but it's in the desert. Remember, it's considered the eye of the Sahara. So there's certainly no water in the Sahara. But I agree, it does.
Sure, there is. I mean, there's oases, whatever. I wonder if that's an oasis.
Well, I think they would have put that in the description if it was water.
Yeah, you'd think they would, yeah.
They would, so they didn't put it. So I'm assuming since it's in the eye of the Sahara, that it really isn't any water. And somehow, if it was a meteorite that fell, that may have caused the concentric circles going into the rock. But, again, you can always find more information about it. We'd love to hear more about it. But yes, it does look like water. So let's go on. But I think it's beautiful, regardless of what it is. It certainly is beautiful. Okay, let's see what's...
The world is full of so many wonderful and unexplainable phenomenon. Some of these things are found where and when you'd least expect them, and we've made a list for you. From lakes randomly appearing to rocks that can move, here are 15 surprising things found in the middle of nowhere. Number 15. There's a giant hand in Chile's Atacama Desert. Has anyone seen the film 2001: A Space Odyssey? Well, the first entry on our list certainly seems to draw some inspiration from the monolith in the film. Standing at a massive 36 feet tall, this hand-shaped sculpture in the middle of the Atacama Desert can be seen from miles before you even reach it. And its name? La Mano del Desierto, or the Hand of the Desert. I'm sure I mangled that pronunciation. More than 25 years ago, a small mining town in the middle of the Atacama Desert called Antofagasta propositioned an artist to create a monument and homage to the surrounding salty, empty desert. In 1992, he would finally unveil this hand outstretched from the sands of the desert. Made out of solid concrete, molded around an iron wire frame, the sculpture stands even taller than a football post. The desert itself may be flat, but it's quite a treacherous one. Because of its high salt content, it's considered the driest non-polar desert on Earth. I wouldn't want to be stranded out there. So it's advised for travelers to have a full tank of gas and plenty of water. Another note, don't drive too fast. The emptiness can be quite mesmerizing, and it's very easy to lose control of the car out there. So be careful if you ever do it.
Any comments about that? The hand in the middle of the desert? Who hauled the concrete out? That had to be a monumental task. I mean, and who would think of that? If you had to make a monument in the middle of the desert, what would your monument be like? What kind of monument would you have? I'm just curious.
A couple of rocks.
I'd like.
Go ahead. First, let's do Carl and then Natalie. I want to hear you. Carl,
Bring out a couple of rocks, put them in the middle of the desert. A couple of rocks.
Rocks?
Rocks.
Okay, any particular kind of rock or size? Just rocks. Okay, that sounds good. How about you, Natalie? What would your monument look like?
It'd be a star.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be a star.
What would how would you make the star? What would be the composition? How would you make it?
I was thinking about maybe with wires.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That sounds good. So a wire star, that sounds very good. Interesting. And it would be good if it's solar powered to make it light up at night. Because certainly in the desert, it's enough sun. Anyone else want to share? Make a monument do you do a hand?
I think the Egyptians did a pretty good job.
Oh, absolutely.
So I might try to emulate them.
Okay.
Except maybe something with a little more purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. Anyone else want to make a comment? Yvette, I had seen your light go on.
I was thinking about a pyramid.
Okay, same thing as Linda. Okay, that sounds good. Again, it would be solar powered so that it would light up. Okay, let's go on. Please mute your mics and let's go on. Okay, let me see if I can do to get out of this.
Before we go,
Okay. And this is interesting, and this is here in the States. It's Coral Castle. A heartbroken man single-handedly built Coral Castle in Homestead, Florida, over the course of 25 years, up until his death in 1951. Without the use of large machinery, he cut, moved, carved, and sculptured more than 1,100 tons of coral rock. How exactly he managed this feat of engineering with only hand tools is still an impressive mystery. So if you get a chance, you may want to look at this or even travel there. Has anyone ever been there?
I have.
Okay, tell us a little bit about it, if you will.
Well, it's as amazing as it sounds. And what they don't tell you is there's doors there that are pivoted on the center. And even though they weigh tons and tons, you can push the door around with your finger.
Wow.
And how you just walk around and you go, wow.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing that one man could do that, you know? Okay, if you had to build a statue to someone, something, what would it be?
A book.
A book. Oh, I like that. A book. I think that's excellent. And what would you call it? What would you call this book monument?
Okay, I have to think about that one.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else have some suggestion for the book monument, what you could call it?
Knowledge is power.
Oh, I like that, Carol Sue. I like that a lot. Anyone else have anything to add? I like that. Knowledge is power. Okay, let's go on with our presentation.
the world is full of so many wonderful and unexplainable phenomenon.
Let's not go on with that one because we've already seen that one. So let's just go here. I like quotes a lot because I just think that they reflect our thoughts and our feelings. I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do. And I wanted your take on that quote, that I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but what the world needs, all the good that I can do. So what are those things that we could do for our world? Those good things that we could do for our world?
What that means to me is think globally, but act locally.
Oh, I
do
like
what
that.
you can in your area, because helping one person is better than not helping one person. You cannot help the world.
That is good. I like that a lot. Anyone else have any comments? What that means? Even at our ages, what can we do to help either locally or globally?
I can't believe
it reminds me of another quote.
Pardon?
It reminds me of another quote.
What is it, please?
I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And since I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something I can do.
Wow, that's interesting. That's like a call to action, call to do something. At our ages, how do you feel about such a call to action?
There's always places to volunteer, always.
That's true. That's true. Get set up as a class in that remote volunteering, et cetera. Yeah.
Whether it's 1 hour a week or 40.
Right.
I think that's excellent. Anyone else?
I volunteer.
Sandra?
I volunteer a couple of times a month for a warm line, and it's like a support line, especially with the virus going on and people having to isolate so much and not getting out of their homes. And it's a listening line, and people, it has to do with the Mental Health Association here in South Florida. So I do that a couple of nights a month, you know. So it's good to give back, you know. It's good to help another.
That seems like pretty demanding, can be pretty demanding, but I'm glad that you're doing it, because I know that people on the other end appreciate someone there to listen.
Yeah.
You know, and this is all helping our world. Anyone else? Anything else? Volunteering or?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I used to do, COVID has kept me from doing. So what has been left for me to do is I like to crochet. So in the year and a half I've been sitting home, I've been crocheting Afghans and hats and scarves that I then deliver to people who would appreciate it, particularly children in abused homes and stuff like that, who have to go to court and they go to this place. So there are things that you love to do that you can do, and then make them, donations make them helpful to somebody else. Even though you love doing them, it still counts.
Absolutely. Arlene, that's an excellent suggestion. Things that you love to do, put it to use to help someone else. And then it doesn't seem like a job or like a burden. It just becomes a natural flow in your life. Anyone else want to make any comments about particularly volunteering or things that we've seen? I want everyone to have a chance to share. I think that's important.
I think it's important to, they say that the next biggest killer among elderly people is going to be loneliness. And I think that if we all understand that and we band together in discussions sort of like that we're having, and we really work to reach out to one another, which is hard for me because I'm an introvert, basically. I could spend all day reading a book, you know. But I think it's important that we reach out to each other, and in terms of trying to support one another and get one another through the tough times like we've had over the last year and a half.
Linda, I think that's excellent. And what can anybody tell me? I know we're a little bit off the path, but it's okay, because this is good. This is your class and it's a fun class. What would that look like? The support that Linda's mentioning, what would that look like? And how can I incorporate it in my next class? What would that look like? How can I give you support? You're in Canada, you're in Florida, you know, you're someplace else. What can I do to give support?
Carol, I think you're already doing it. I think you're offering a really good topic. Obviously something that a lot of people are interested in, because I think there's over 30 of us on this call. And you're offering a topic, and what are the results of that? The results of that is you're opening up a whole discussion where people are sharing from all over the country. And supporting each other while we're doing it, and you're providing the platform. So so God bless you for that. Seriously.
Well, thank you. But I mean, I wasn't coming for compliments, but I just want to make sure that we support that we're all supported. And I know that that's very important. So let me go back to my class and share. If everyone has said anything, anybody else want to make any comments? Did I miss any? I don't want to miss anyone.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm Natalie. And you know one thing, Carol, I just think that Get Set Up is so wonderful when they came out with this here, you know, for seniors. And when the woman was talking about the volunteering, I went to that class, you know, and she gave out so much good information, you know, and I just feel like, you know, one thing, as seniors, You know one thing, like say for instance, the kind of phones they are using today, they give, you learn in those classes. Because my grandchildren, if I say, how do you do so-and-so? Some of them just take the phone, say, dun, 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 and give it back to you. And I said, I still don't know what to do, but they really teach you in these classes. And I really enjoy that, you know.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, should let Get Set know about that too, Natalie. It would be good because he really
Carol,
in the classes. Yes, Carl.
in Canada here, like the federal government sometimes gives us money. I'm a senior and I'm part of a seniors group here in my city, but they gave us $25,000 to buy laptops and computers. And then we opened up an auditorium, brought in seniors from the city, and we taught them how to use them. Basically, just how to use them. So we bought iPads, Android tablets, and Windows 10 PCs.
Wow.
So that's a big project. We put in about 100 hours to a lot of people. So they all went and got, phones and tablets and computers. But it was just for tablets and computers. But tablets are like phones, so it worked. It worked well.
That's awesome. And kind of extending the mysteries of the earth are people helping people. It's innate. It's in us. It's in us to help. And that's just amazing to me also. So I have thoroughly appreciated the stories. Anybody want to make any other comments? I don't want to leave anyone out because we're winding down to our time.
Okay, I just wanted
we have time. I'd rather talk with you than just show you pictures, quite frankly.
Yeah, I just started volunteering, doing like a friendly call to another senior that lives alone.
Wow.
So I've been doing that for maybe 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow.
And I attended a workshop to make a calming jar. So I've been making calming jars for people. And you use like glitter and glue. And when they get upset, they can just shake it up and watch it fall. And it's so, I'm telling you, it looks so pretty and it is calming. So my kids have asked me to do it. Some friends have asked me to do it. So I just do it for fun.
Wow. Yvette, I want to make sure I'm understanding. So like you take a glass jar and you put it inside?
Yeah, you put glue and you mix it with water first to break it down. And then you add the glitter.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you put it in the jar.
You put it in the jar, shake it up.
It stays liquidy?
It stays liquidy because you fill it up with water after you put all the glitter.
Okay.
And after you shake it up, it starts, settling down and it looks so pretty.
It is like a snow globe is what I'm hearing.
Right.
That's fantastic. And it's so simple to make, really.
Very simple.
That's very good. Anyone want to share any? These are tips that we could do to help people and even for ourselves. And there are a number of classes here that help with crafts, etc. Okay, let's move on here. And let's just see what's next.
Waterfall that seemingly goes nowhere. The Brule River splits into two at one point, with the east side of the river falling down in typical waterfall fashion, and the west side plunging down into a cavernous hole. The latter is known as the Devil's Kettle, and experts have been trying for decades to figure out where all that flowing water goes. Branches, ping pong balls, and other objects that have been thrown into the chute have simply vanished, never to be seen again. While some speculated that the Devil's Kettle waterfall followed some secret underground path leading to Lake Superior, geologists weren't convinced. After comparing the amount of water flowing above Devil's Kettle and the amount of water flowing below it, hydrologists discovered that there isn't a loss of water between the two locations. This meant that there was no hidden channel leading to the lake. The water going down the hole was just resurfacing in the river downstream. A dye trace was supposed to be conducted in 2017 to see exactly where the water resurfaced, but this never happened. Perhaps the most controversial phenomenon in this video is that of the Naga fireballs. Every October and May, glowing orbs ascend from out of the Mekong River at night, as if by magic. According to legend, these flaming balls are the breath of Naga, a river serpent from Buddhist mythology, kind of like Thailand's very own Nessie. According to scientists, the fireballs might be methane gas spontaneously igniting on its way out of the river. There are others who believe that they are produced by combustible phosphine gas. Then there are the scientists who believe that the fireballs are actually free-floating plasma orbs caused by surface electricity being released into a solution. But according to conspiracy theorists, the Naga fireballs might be nothing more than a human-made hoax that's been recreated year after year by ambitious pyrotechnics. Nobody really knows for sure how
Okay, thank you. I had one more that I wanted to show, and it had to do with dolls, but it must not be here, or I didn't put it on here. Okay, so that pretty much concludes our class, but I wanted to say this before we end. We have a few more minutes. I have to thank you for being a part of this class, and I ask that you share your experience at Get Set Up. We'll talk after I have to do this, and then like to just have a little conversation to end the class. Thanks. You can share your experience at Get Set Up at hashtag Get Set Up, at Get Set Up, Liz at Get Set Up, and Liz is a real person.io. Some classes that you may be interested in taking are gardening, moving with chair yoga, an encounter with animals and birds. My next class will be Juneteenth, creative writing, celebrate fathers, and there are a couple more on the board. Class notes, when you will receive class notes when we end this class, and it will just be some interesting little pointers that maybe can be takeaways. And I'll also give you some websites that you may want to watch. Also, I asked for feedback. Not only, I don't ask for it, Get Set wants the feedback so that we can tailor our classes to you and to your needs. So please give us feedback. And the last thing, the Get Set Up community, spread the word about learning with Get Set Up. Come host an interest group, just let us know. Suggest a class you would like to see on Get Set Up. We partner with assisted care, senior living, government, and community organizations. Request a session recording and share ideas for new classes that help Get Set Up. If you have any difficulties navigating our system, please stay on, and our tech who is with us, Franklin, will help you. I have a, so Franklin is here if you need help. Any comments or anything you'd like to share before we close out? Okay.
Can you tell me when your gardening group is on, please?
Pardon?
Can you tell me when your gardening group is running?
I can't, let's just see, Franklin, can you, the gardening group, can you find that and put it in the chat? And if not, you do know you can go to the information bar and then put in gardening and it should come up the class.
Oh, okay.
Okay, in the information bar, the search bar, whatever. And I want to note, Shirley, I thank you for being here. Shirley is one of our instructors, and she does, I'll let Shirley tell you, what are your classes, Shirley? I won't try to.
Hi, Carol. I really enjoyed the class, and the topic seemed very interesting to me, and I really enjoyed all the comments that I heard from the participants. My class is, line dance. I do a beginner's line dance, and then we do a social line dance. And I started doing a class called Coping, using music and movement, which is really kind of a fun class. I'm enjoying that one. Yeah, and I enjoy all of your classes.
Thank
and
you.
Especially that creative writing, I still remember what we were told.
Okay, I hate to tell you this, Shirley, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm still writing about that unicorn.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, any other comments? Because we're getting close to our hour, and I know some of you take other classes. I don't want to hold you in any way. I hope that you'll come back. Well, our classes all have new places for us to visit. Won't be the same places. I was bored looking at the same places, so we'll be visiting new places. Is there any place you'd like us besides the flower clock? That's one. Any place you'd like for us to look for and to potentially visit? That you
Stonehenge.
Pardon?
Stonehenge.
Yes, Stonehenge is excellent. Yes, definitely. Any else? Any other place?
I think any of our state parks
Okay.
would be fun.
So state parks too.
And
Okay.
I didn't realize that we have Canadian participants. So there's two. National parks, Canadian national parks or US national parks or anywhere. Exciting, right?
Yes.
Okay. Carl, is there any place special in your national parks that you'd like to see that you haven't already? Well, even if you have seen it, you can help us.
You mean in Canada?
Yeah, in Canada.
Well, there's one for the bears in British Columbia, bear rainforest or something. But there's a lot up in the Arctic now. They're opening way up there in the cold regions. They're opening a lot of parks.
Okay. So
But it's big. Canada's second biggest country in the world, so we have a lot of parks. They're opening them up all over. But the Rockies, the Rockies are,
Mhm.
and Newfoundland has a big park. Newfoundland, way out in the east, a huge park. I've been there, but I forgot the name.
Okay. All right, so then we will explore some of those things. And Franklin has put the person who asked about the gardening, Franklin did put it in the chat so that you can see, where the gardening class. All right, we have just a few more minutes. Oh, Rose, do you want to make a comment?
I'd like to know, is it possible for you to do something on Arlington Cemetery?
Sure. Yeah, you actually missed our memorial service. We had a memorial service that touched.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. We had the history of Memorial Day. Well, I had the history of Memorial Day, and then the next day I did memorial service. But certainly Arlington Cemetery, certainly we could add that on the list.
Yes, especially the changing of the guards at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That is absolutely an awesome sight to see.
Okay. I have it on my list. Any place else or anything else?
Thank you.
No problem. Shirley, did you have something in mind?
Oh, thank you, Carol. I didn't.
Okay.
Other than, there's a National Art Cemetery too for in I think Dayton, Ohio, in that area. This one there.
Okay.
In addition to Arlington.
And they just do national cemeteries. Wow, it's going to be an interesting perspective.
So we slumped down on the hotel's man-made.
Not a problem. All right, our time is actually over, and I know some of you will be going to other classes. I have thoroughly enjoyed you. Thank you for sharing this time with me, and I hope to see you again in some of the other classes. And have a good afternoon, everyone. If everybody's made all the comments they want to make, right?
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.